So you've just arrived in Japan, and after getting off the plane, you just can't seem to find your harem of girls that were supposed to be waiting for you. So you head straight to the nearest information counter to ask for directions. But hang on a second, where are the subtitles? In a moment of panic, you blurt out the only Japanese you know. Itadakimasu! Realizing you must have come to the wrong place, you take out your phone and call your Ka-san for help. If this story sounds all too familiar to you, then you've come to the right place. My goal with this video is to help temper your expectations about what traveling around real-world Japan is really like by sharing with you 5 ways that Japan is nothing like it's portrayed in anime. Number 5. Enjoy the nightlife without any strife. Given that the vast majority of anime are based on high school students, drinking's really not shown that much because, unlike the West, no one in Japan would ever dream of breaking underage drinking laws, right? Right? So anime tends to portray drinking as just something that boring old salarymen do. And although there is a major corporate drinking culture in Japan called nomikai, where employees meet up after work to let down their hair and socialize a bit, Japanese nightlife does not live and die in the izakaya. The vast majority of people I saw while out in the wee hours of the night were young adults or other tourists. Rarely do you ever see someone wearing a suit with their tie loose or their shirt half untucked. There are all sorts of restaurants, bars, and clubs packed tightly with youths making memories that they'll never remember. And no, you really don't have to worry too much about having a run-in with the Yakuza. They're too busy raising telekinetic aliens to hassle you over your pronunciation of itadakimasu. Number 4. Real school waifu is nothing like your waifus. This might come as a bit of a shock to you, but one of the least realistic parts of anime is just how it portrays high school life in Japan. Although this won't affect your next vacation, it's still an interesting insight into Japanese culture all the same. If the situation is something entirely implausible in Western culture, then it's safe to say the same goes for Japan. Like the all too common trope of students living on their own in a bougie apartment with their parents nowhere to be found. Want to move in with your girlfriend at 16? Sure! What could go wrong?
You need to apologize to your sister right now!
But in reality, the only time a high school student would ever live on their own would be at a boarding school in a school-operated dormitory where they can't really get up to any fun shenanigans. But good thing too, because you're gonna need your parents around to wash your stylish school uniform, right? Well, maybe not. In anime, school uniforms are colorful, unique, and, well, sort of revealing. But in reality, they're actually quite conservative and come in black, white, beige, or navy blue. And they conform to set styles like the iconic Serafuku and Gakuran. And no, students do not wear bloomers during PE and haven't since the 90s. Oh, that's my cue. Pfft, only 90s kids remember. Students aren't typically allowed to customize their outfits without getting in trouble with the all-powerful student council, right? Well, actually, Japanese student councils are just another club in charge of club logistics and planning school events, and aren't necessarily all-powerful rulers of the school.
Your student council president, Satsuki Kiryuin! Hail!
In most high school-aged Western media, the go-to theme is bullying, but in anime, aside from a few hickey flashbacks, which, let's be real, the cringy kid had it coming, most anime classes all join together as one happy family, working together to put on the best rendition of Romeo and Juliet possible. In reality, there's just as much of a bullying problem in Japan as there is in the rest of the world. On the rare occasion that an anime character does get their feelings hurt, there's only one place for them to go. To the roof! What better place to go to work out your feelings than somewhere where you could trip and fall 40 feet onto the track team below? No. High schoolers do not have sovereignty over the school rooftops. Number 3, staying a while? Maybe rethink your hairstyle. Although most weebs can figure out for themselves that anime hairstyles tend to break the laws of physics, this particular trope is a little more than a stretch. Like a lot more. Although it would be really cool to live in a world where people's eyes match their hot pink hair, this is about as far from the truth as you can get. The vast majority of people in Japan keep their hair somewhere between brown and much darker brown, and the ban on dyeing your hair wasn't even lifted from public schools until summer 2019.
What happened to your head, boy?
Most people probably already knew that, but what's a little less apparent is that even slice of life anime that are more grounded in reality might not be entirely plausible. Just like uniforms, Japanese schools often have rules and restrictions around how students are allowed to style their hair, so it's unlikely you'll ever find someone like Suzumiya living her best life. Number 2, the path to the public bath. Despite what anime would have you believe, most modern Japanese homes do come equipped with their own bath and shower, often in a different room from the toilet, but they're still there. So the romantic notion that everyone in town gathers at the public bath to wash the day away and socialize is a little old-fashioned. Nowadays, public baths and onsens can still be found in most towns, but they're more recreational than they are essential. And I don't think I ever saw a teenager hanging out in one. The crowd is predominantly elderly, with the occasional group of young adults mixed in, but definitely not high schoolers. And although historically mixed-gender bathhouses called konyoku were the norm, they're few and far between in modern society, so Konosuba fans will have to look elsewhere. Number 1. Shop till you drop. Your preconceived notions about what Japanese malls are like, because they're a little bit different in real life. Just like in anime, Japanese malls are beautifully designed public spaces to hang out with your friends, but the layouts are just slightly different. Real city malls tend to be much more vertical, with only a few shops on each floor because they have to fit into the crowded cities. In major cities, I found malls to be much less diverse than they appear in anime, and are mostly filled with high-end name-brand clothing stores. Rarely did I ever see the little boutiques that are so common in anime. And I'm surprised to see one of Japan's most popular shopping destinations entirely omitted from the anime lexicon. Don Quixote, which is Japan's version of a discount store like Walmart or Target. Inside you can buy anything from clothes to food and even electronics. The layout is extremely tight and can be kind of overwhelming with the amount of products, prices, and advertising everywhere you look. That might have something to do with why it's not shown in anime. It's not exactly aesthetically pleasing. Again, all of this has just been from my own experience in Japan, which I'm certainly no expert, so I'd love to hear if you guys have had similar experiences, or if I'm actually the one that went to the wrong place. Either way, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, because it would really help me get one step closer to my dream of affording pink contacts to match my hair.